Hi, and welcome to our next video where we're going to look at some quick facts about mental illness. Everyone's got an opinion about mental health, but opinions based on myths add to stigma and make life harder for people affected by mental illness. So here are 5 quick facts that you need in order to tell the truth from the myths about mental illness. Mental illness is real. Our knowledge of mental illness is incomplete, but we can say one thing for certain: mental illness isn't laziness, attention-seeking, bad diet, mental, physical, or spiritual weakness, or a failure of character. Mental illness is real as cancer, diabetes, and heart disease. Anyone can develop a mental illness. There's no immunity to mental illness. Not everyone develops a mental illness during their lives, but anyone could. Almost half of us will experience a mental illness during our lives, and that's just anxiety, mood disorders, and substance addictions in people aged 16 to 85. Add in young people, schizophrenia, eating disorders, personality disorders, and more, and the figure is likely to be far higher. Some people have more than one diagnosis, and far too many Australians go undiagnosed. Some Australians are more likely to be affected than others, so Indigenous Australians experience much higher rates of psychological distress than the general population, and lower access to mental health services. LGBTIQA+ people experience very high rates of depression and psychological distress, and are more at risk group in Australia of suicide. Mental health is not more common in rural and remote areas than in cities, but rates of suicide are much higher, services are harder to access, and stigma can be higher. Some of the highest rates of mental illness are for people in prison, but remember that identifying with one or more of these groups doesn't mean you will become ill. The causes of mental illness are complex. There isn't one simple, obvious thing like a virus or bacteria that causes mental illness, and that makes the causes hard for us to work out. For some mental illnesses like schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, it's possible to inherit a predisposition. That means a greater likelihood that you'll develop the disorder. For others, there seems to be no genetic link at all. But even then, it doesn't mean you're going to get sick. Your likelihood of developing a mental illness is influenced by a complex combination of factors that are genetic, or it could be due to lack of life opportunities, due to injuries, could be trauma, stress, learned behaviour or developmental issues, or use of drugs or drug history. There really isn't one simple cause for mental illness, and remember that we're all so different. There's also no link between mental illness and creativity. So experiencing mental illness doesn't make you more creative, and being creative doesn't make you more likely to experience a mental illness. Likewise, getting treatment for mental illness doesn't reduce your creativity, although the side effects of some of the medications can affect you. Thank you for listening. I hope you found these facts interesting. Now click to hear some facts about mental disorders.